Hi there. Okay, in this session we're going to take and show you how I create that blurred border on my photos. I want to apologize. I'm sitting in a room that echoes terribly, so it is not your speaker or even my computer. It's just this empty room that I'm sitting in, unfortunately. I don't have my other microphone with me. So let's just get started. I have pulled up this object, this photo. I've already corrected it the way that I want to see it, and you see that it appears as just a single layer over here. Uh, Before I put the border on, I always create it as just a single layer. I flatten all layers because some of the adjustment layers can actually get in the way of some of the things that we're going to do next. And if you pop a layer in between, the adjustment layer does funny things to some of that. So we're just going to leave this the way it is right now, a single layer. The first thing we're going to do though is I'm going to take and duplicate that layer by pulling it right down here. And we're going to work with this background layer. Generally, I just do this in the blind and I do it very quickly with my hotkeys. But in this case, so that you can see what's happening to the image, I'm going to turn off the top layer here so that we're actually looking at just this bottom layer. And the first thing we want to do is come up here to a filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I've got it set about 75. You can adjust this however you want it. You just want to make sure when you look around the edges that it's definitely different than the photo itself, and that looks pretty good, so we're going to leave it at that. The other thing that I do is I darken that image a little bit. So I come over here to my brightness control and I take it down about half. You can just kind of play with it and see what you like. Now, if the picture has a lot of black around the edges and you show your photos on a black background, then you might want to lighten it a little bit so that that border shows up. And I do that occasionally with mine if I have a lot of black or black all the way around it. Instead of darkening it, I'll lighten it here, and that way it'll make it stand out. But in this case, we're just going to leave it as dark. So now then, I'm going to turn the top layer back on, and we're going to come over here and take our little sizing tool. And I know that I'm using a PC and you're using a Mac, so I don't know, but I hit Shift and Alt, and I can, whoops, I'm on the wrong layer. Let's forget that we did that. Let's back up here. Select the top layer because that's the one that we want to use. See, this is just like real life, isn't it? Okay, now we'll take and shrink that one down a little bit so that when you're working the two longer borders, vertical or horizontal, you get to be about the way you want it. You say, that's pretty good, we're going to leave it there. So now you can actually see that the border has been blurred all the way around it. I already have loaded into my buffer my signature, which I will show you over here. It says copyright C.A. Haugley and the year, and I put it on a transparent background so that when I paste it in, you don't see the background. But I've already copied that, so I'm going to paste it in. And in this case, it's real tiny, and it ends up right here in the middle. It creates another layer for you, and that's exactly what we want to do because we want to create the rest of this using this layer. The first thing, I double click on it and I create the drop shadow. I've set my adjustments already and my color and how far it's going to spread and the size and distance and everything the way that I want it. We hit OK, and then I'm going to move it right down here into the corner. What we're going to do next is put a little 5-pixel white border around it. So I use white, but if you use your paintbrush and you look at this, you go, oh my gosh, I can't see exactly where I'm going to put that. So I just simply take my magnifying glass, use the little corner, that blows it up big, and now you can see where that dot goes. And I use my navigator and I just hit the other corner, and as long as I hold down my shift, it'll draw a line to each one of those, and it really goes quite quickly. Okay, we'll finish this one off, and now it has the white border, and you can see that this white border, because we're using it on the layer we put the shadow in, has a shadow that comes along with it, and that gives it kind of that offset look. So making it full size again so you can see it. Here is the border. It's got a little bit of that dark rim on one side. It gives you an impression that it's raised just a bit because you see the shadow on the top and the bottom and not necessarily on the tops or on the left-hand side. Now, I always like to keep my borders, pretty much even. Sometimes I don't. So we're just going to take and crop that down to that size. When we get all done, I just simply flatten my layers, and we are back to having the finished product. I hope that helped. If you have any other questions, just let me know.